Some say the mind fades with the body, but what if it's only changing form? Have you ever paused and wondered, when the body dies, where does the mind go? It's a question that has followed humanity since the beginning of time. Every culture, every faith, every philosopher has tried to answer it. Yet the truth remains like a breeze you can feel but cannot hold. The Buddha never demanded belief. He didn't say, "This is how it is." Instead, he invited us to look deeply, to see for ourselves. Because the journey beyond death is not something to be memorized, it's something to be realized. When you sit still enough, you might notice the body changes, cells die, and are reborn every second. But the awareness watching these changes, that quiet witness within you, has it ever aged? Has it ever died? Maybe the question isn't where the mind goes after death, but what the mind really is. Is it a spark of something infinite, passing through this form just for a while? Or is it like a wave returning to the ocean? Not gone, just transformed. Buddhist wisdom doesn't ask you to believe in heaven or rebirth. It asks you to understand impermanence, that everything arises, stays for a while, and fades. And in seeing that truth directly, fear begins to dissolve. When you truly see the flow of life and death as one continuous rhythm, peace arises naturally. You no longer cling to what must change, nor fear what must end. The body may fall, but awareness, that clear, boundless space, remains untouched. So perhaps the real secret is not to ask where the mind goes, but to awaken to where it has always been. As we continue, let us move to the first part of today's reflection, the ever-changing river of body and mind. Look closely at your body for a moment. The shape you see in the mirror is not the same as it was yesterday. Every second, countless cells die, and countless others are born. The blood flows, breath comes and goes, skin renews itself. We call this anicca, impermanence. Like a river that never stands still, the body only appears stable because change happens too subtly for the eye to catch. We grow attached to this body, calling it mine. Yet if every particle is replaced again and again, what part truly belongs to us? The body is a guest house of fleeting elements: earth, water, fire, and air, meeting for a short while, then parting again. And the mind? It is no different. It too is a stream, a constant movement of sensations, emotions, memories, and thoughts. Each one rises, lives for a breath, then fades away. Just as a film looks like continuous motion, the mind's endless frames give us the illusion of a single self. Atam, when you sit quietly and watch your breath, you can feel this truth. One moment of calm appears, another of restlessness follows. Thoughts form and vanish like ripples on water. The observer within you is not fixed. It shifts, flows, and dissolves with every experience. The Buddha revealed this insight in the Anatalakkhana Sutta. There is no permanent self, body, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness. All are impermanent, subject to change, and beyond control. This means what we call I is only a process, 5 streams moving together: body, feelings, perception, mental activities, and awareness. There is no separate owner of life, only life itself unfolding. When you truly see this, fear begins to lose its ground, because you realize the body never really belongs to you. It is nature's rhythm borrowing your name. The mind never truly stays. It is the sky through which countless clouds drift by. And in that seeing, something profound awakens. You stop clinging to what must change and begin to rest in what does not. The silent awareness witnessing all transformations. Death then becomes less of an ending and more of a continuation, like the river flowing into the sea. When the body dissolves, the current of consciousness continues its mysterious journey. That is the essence of impermanence. Nothing is lost, only transformed. So as we enter this first part of today's exploration, remember, what you call you is not a thing to be held, but a dance to be observed. A river of body and mind, ever-changing, yet somehow endlessly alive. Sometimes when we pause long enough to observe, really observe, we start to see it. Life isn't a fixed story, but a constant unfolding. Our body changes, our thoughts shift, and our emotions rise and fall like waves. That's where we left off. The truth of impermanence, of body and mind as flowing rivers rather than solid stones. But if everything keeps moving, then what holds the flow together? What keeps this stream of experiences continuing, moment after moment, life after life? Let's move deeper into today's journey. The invisible current that connects all lives. The law of karma. In Buddhism, karma doesn't mean punishment or reward. It simply means intention. Every thought, every word, every action born from intention plants a seed in the mind. And like a ripple spreading across a still lake, that seed creates movement, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, but always returning to the one who cast it. Think about it. Every moment you act with kindness, patience, or compassion, you're shaping the quality of your mind. You're not just doing something good, you're transforming the inner landscape that will one day blossom into your future experiences. Likewise, every action driven by greed, anger, or ignorance becomes a thorn in that same garden. The Buddha never spoke of a divine judge handing down fate. Instead, he revealed something far more profound, that we are the creators of our own continuity. Karma isn't something that follows you like a ghost. It's the natural echo of your own mind. When the body dies, the physical form dissolves, but intention, the subtle energy of consciousness, continues. It carries the imprints of what has been cultivated, just as a flame passes from one candle to another. Imagine a musician playing a note. It fades, yet its vibration lingers in the air. So too does karma. It sustains the melody of our existence beyond one lifetime. Death doesn't end the song. It only changes the instrument. And this realization isn't meant to inspire fear. It's meant to awaken responsibility. Because knowing that every thought, every small act has weight means that we can shape our destiny right now. We can refine our mind to generate peace instead of turmoil, compassion instead of resentment. When we understand karma deeply, blame disappears. We stop saying, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" Life stops being a punishment or a reward. It becomes a mirror reflecting the patterns we've created. And here's the liberating part. Karma isn't a life sentence. It's a living law. The moment awareness arises, transformation begins. A single act of mindfulness, of choosing patience over anger, understanding over judgment, can redirect the current of your entire life. So the question isn't, what will happen after I die? But what intention am I planting right now? Because every thought you nurture, every action you choose, is writing the next line of your story, even beyond this lifetime. That's the power of karma. Unseen, unfixed, but always fair. And it reminds us, our future isn't waiting out there somewhere. It's growing right here, in the garden of our mind. As we've seen, karma, the invisible current of intention, keeps the river of life flowing endlessly. Every thought, every act, every whisper of the heart creates ripples that continue beyond this very lifetime. But what happens in the precise moment when the body can no longer carry that flow? When breath softens and the boundary between life and death becomes paper thin? Let's continue our journey today and move into the final moment of consciousness, how the mind operates at death. In the last hours of life, something sacred unfolds. The body begins to release its grip. The senses fade, sight blurs, sounds drift away. The body feels distant, almost foreign. Yet while the physical form weakens, the mind remains vividly active. In Buddhist teachings, this is the stage when bhavanga citta, the life continuum consciousness, starts to waver. It's like a candle's flame flickering gently before it goes out, but still holding its warmth. As the final moment draws near, three types of mental impressions arise, guided entirely by karma. First, kama, the memory of powerful actions in one's life. These may be moments of deep kindness, forgiveness, or cruelty. They resurface not as judgment, but as the natural echo of one's own mind. Second, kama nimitta, symbolic images linked to those actions appear. Someone who lived with compassion may see light, open fields, or loved ones smiling. Someone who caused suffering might see darkness, fire, or hear cries, each vision a mirror of their inner state. And third, gati nimitta, the vision of where the next existence will unfold, heavenly realms, human life, or realms of greater suffering. These are not external places forced upon the soul, but destinations shaped by the direction of one's own consciousness. Then comes the Kuticita, the final moment of consciousness, the mind's last flicker in this life. Here the mind does not go anywhere. It simply ceases, dissolving like a wave settling back into the sea. There is no entity, no soul traveling from one body to another. Yet the stream of energy doesn't end there. Instantly, Padishandisita, the rebirth-linking consciousness, arises, like a new flame kindled from an old one. It might appear in a womb, an egg, or in another realm altogether. According to the Theravada view, there is no in-between or antarabhava. The continuity is immediate, unbroken. It's like lighting one candle from another. The new flame shines, but the old one is gone. No flame has traveled, yet the light continues. This truth, though subtle, holds immense peace, because it shows that death is not a door closing. It's a shift in rhythm, a change in frequency. Consciousness doesn't vanish. It transforms, conditioned by the intentions we've nurtured. When we understand this, fear begins to fade. Death no longer feels like a thief, but a teacher, reminding us of what truly matters now. If the final visions of our mind reflect the seeds we've sown, then each day is a chance to plant better ones, acts of compassion, forgiveness, clarity, and peace. In that sense, dying well begins long before our last breath. It begins each time we choose to be mindful instead of careless, gentle instead of harsh, present instead of distracted. And when that final moment arrives, the mind will simply follow its training, flowing calmly into the next state, just as a river continues beyond the bend, unseen but unbroken. After understanding how the mind moves at the moment of death, one question naturally arises. Is this process the same for everyone? Different Buddhist traditions have offered unique interpretations of what happens between death and rebirth. Each view is like a window looking onto the same vast sky, distinct in form, yet united in essence. So now let's continue our journey today and explore the many views across traditions. Different paths, one truth. In the Theravada tradition, which follows the earliest teachings of the Buddha, rebirth happens instantly. There is no gap, no waiting room between lives. When Kuticita, the consciousness of death, ceases, Patisandicita, the rebirth-linking consciousness, arises right away. It's like striking one match from another. The flame continues, unbroken, seamless. According to this view, there's no middle state or antarabhava. The moment one life ends, another begins, determined entirely by the force of karma. The continuity is not of a person or soul, but of energy, intention, and habit. But in the Tibetan or Vajrayana tradition, the vision expands into something deeply symbolic and mystical. Here, death is followed by a transitional state called the bardo, lasting up to 49 days. The word bardo means in between. During this period, the mind experiences luminous visions, sounds, and sensations, reflections of its own karma and mental formations. Imagine the bardo as a mirror made of pure awareness. Whatever appears there, angels or demons, beauty or terror, is not external reality, but the projection of one's inner state. For practitioners of deep meditation, recognizing this truth in the midst of bardo brings the ultimate freedom, liberation right there before any rebirth occurs. In that sense, the bardo isn't a punishment or reward. It's an opportunity, the final test of mindfulness. If one recognizes the radiance of awareness as one's own true nature, the cycle of birth and death can end instantly. If not, the mind is drawn again into the current of rebirth, guided by its karmic tendencies. While these descriptions differ, both traditions point to the same core truth. There is no eternal soul moving from life to life. What continues is the momentum of karma, the energy of our intentions and actions. And both agree on the ultimate goal, to be free from this endless cycle, to awaken. Whether it's the Theravadan's quiet insight into impermanence, or the Tibetan's luminous vision of the bardo, the essence remains one: liberation from clinging, from fear, from illusion. When you see this clearly, the question, where does the mind go after death, no longer demands a place or direction. The mind doesn't go anywhere. It simply returns to its true nature, vast and boundless, like space itself. Death, then, is not an ending, but a revelation. The traditions may speak in different languages, but all whisper the same message. You are not the body, nor the fleeting thoughts, nor the journey between lives. You are the awareness behind them, silent, clear, and free. As we move from the diverse perspectives of Buddhist traditions, one truth becomes beautifully clear. Regardless of the path or doctrine, every teaching points to responsibility, the sacred truth that we are the architects of our own destiny. And now, we will journey to the next part of today's reflection. Beyond fate, you are the creator of tomorrow. Fate is not a script written by some divine hand. It is not fixed, nor is it something we are condemned to follow. It is, instead, an unfolding tapestry woven by the threads of our own thoughts, words, and actions. Every single moment, every choice, is a brushstroke painting the canvas of our future lives. The Buddha taught that our intentions, satana, shape the flow of karma, not only what we do, but the inner quality of the heart that does it. When we act with mindfulness and compassion, we plant seeds that bloom into peace and happiness. When we act with anger, greed, or ignorance, we plant thorns that return as suffering. Imagine each thought as a ripple upon a quiet lake. You cannot stop the waves, but you can choose the kind of energy you send forth. A kind word, a selfless gesture, a moment of awareness. These ripples move far beyond what you can see. They touch others, and eventually they return to you. This is the meaning of self-created destiny. It is not punishment nor reward, but simply the reflection of the heart's vibration through time. The Buddha said, "The diligent walk the path to the deathless. The careless walk the path to death." These words are not a warning, but an invitation, a reminder that awakening is a choice renewed each day. Every act of kindness, every breath taken with awareness, every time we forgive instead of resent, we transform our future. These are not small things. They are acts of liberation in disguise. Each one weakens the grip of ignorance and brings us closer to peace. To live mindfully is to become a conscious sculptor of your own existence. You begin to see that no one truly gives you happiness or suffering. They are states born from your own mind. When you understand this, you stop blaming the world and start cultivating the inner conditions that lead to serenity. At the time of death, the mind does not vanish. It simply continues, carrying the resonance of what has been practiced throughout life. If your heart has been trained in calmness, gratitude, and kindness, that energy naturally leads to a peaceful rebirth, a reflection of your inner light. But even then, all states of being are impermanent. The ultimate goal is not to be reborn in a pleasant realm, but to transcend the cycle altogether, to reach Nibbana, the unshakable freedom beyond birth and death. To live with this understanding is to live awake, no longer a leaf drifting in the wind of fate, but a conscious traveler walking the path of wisdom. Fate does not hold you. You hold the power to shape fate. Let your thoughts be pure. Let your words be kind. Let your actions be rooted in compassion. Because every heartbeat, every breath, every choice is the seed of the world you will meet again. As we reflect on the truth that each of us creates our own destiny, a deeper question begins to rise within. If we are the ones who shape our future, what continues after this life ends? What is it that carries the echo of our intentions from one existence to another? And now we will move to the next part of today's reflection, the endless stream, the mind's journey through samsara. Rebirth, in the Buddha's teaching, is not the migration of a soul from one body to another. There is no permanent self that travels. Instead, it is the continuation of causes and effects, a stream of mental energy flowing on through countless lives. Each existence arises from past karma that has ripened, while at the same time, every moment we live creates new karma, feeding the cycle of becoming samsara. It is like a flame lighting another. The fire continues, but no single flame moves from one lamp to the next. This endless stream is driven by three forces: greed, anger, and ignorance. Lobha, dosa, moha. They are the hidden roots that keep the wheel turning, like fire always seeking new fuel to burn. Every moment of clinging, every desire, every resentment keeps the mind bound to the next becoming. When we live in forgetfulness, we move unconsciously from one form to another, chasing shadows of happiness and running from pain. But when mindfulness and wisdom awaken, something extraordinary begins to happen. We see through the illusion of I and mine. The mind starts to let go, not by suppressing or denying, but by understanding. With every moment of awareness, the current slows. With every act of compassion, the fire of craving cools. With every insight, the bonds of becoming weaken. This is the secret that the Buddha discovered beneath the Bodhi tree. Freedom is not found by escaping the world, but by seeing it clearly, by understanding that all phenomena are impermanent, not self, and unsatisfactory when clung to. When craving ends, the cycle stops. The stream no longer seeks to continue. That state beyond birth and death, beyond time and becoming, is called nibbana, the unborn, the unconditioned. It is not annihilation, nor a heaven, nor a place. It is the peace that comes when the mind no longer burns with desire, when it no longer seeks anything to grasp. It is the stillness at the end of all becoming, the flame that, having exhausted its fuel, simply goes out. And yet this going out is not loss, it is release. It is the silence after the storm, the boundless clarity that has always been here, waiting beneath all illusions. Each moment of mindfulness you practice today brings you closer to that stillness. Every time you forgive, let go, or breathe in awareness, you step out of the wheel of becoming, even if just for a breath. The path of liberation is not somewhere far away. It unfolds right here, in this moment of seeing clearly. To live with wisdom is to already touch freedom. To understand the stream is to no longer be carried by it. And that, perhaps, is the deepest teaching of all. You are not the wave. You are the ocean that watches it rise and fall. After journeying through the endless stream of rebirth, we might begin to wonder, is there a way to step out of this cycle entirely? If life and death are part of a vast ocean of becoming, is there a shore beyond the waves? And now we will move to the next part of today's reflection, the path of liberation, mastering the flow of your own mind. The Buddha did not stop at explaining death or rebirth. He revealed a path of freedom, a way to end suffering and awaken from the dream of endless becoming. This path is known as the Noble Eightfold Path, a map toward inner mastery, clarity, and peace. It begins with right view, seeing the world as it truly is, impermanent, interdependent, and empty of a separate self. When you see clearly that everything arises and passes away according to cause and condition, fear begins to dissolve. Death is no longer a punishment, but a natural transformation. One wave returning to the ocean it never truly left. Then comes right intention, the commitment to live with kindness, compassion, and wisdom instead of craving or ill will. Every thought and action shaped by these intentions becomes a seed of light that purifies the mind. When your intentions are pure, your path naturally brightens. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood are the expressions of this inner clarity. They transform ordinary living into spiritual practice. The way you speak, act, and earn a living becomes a reflection of mindfulness and integrity. Every moment of honesty, compassion, or restraint reshapes karma and strengthens your peace. Right effort is the gentle but steady discipline to nurture the wholesome and release the unwholesome. It is not force or control, but a balanced energy, like tending a fire so it burns steadily without burning out. Then there is right mindfulness, the art of being present, to observe each breath, each thought, each feeling as it arises and fades, without clinging, without rejecting. Through mindfulness, you begin to see the movie of your mind, frame by frame, until the illusion of a permanent self begins to dissolve. Finally, right concentration, the stillness that allows the heart to see deeply. When the mind settles like a clear lake, the truth reflects effortlessly. You realize that liberation was never something to be gained, but something always here, once the noise fades. The Eightfold Path is not a belief system. It is a way of living, a training of the heart and mind to see, to understand, and to love. Through it, karma becomes purified, the mind becomes lighter, and the heart grows vast. The Buddha once said, "Diligence is the path to the deathless. Heedlessness is the path to death." To walk this path is to awaken from the dream of separation, to recognize that you are not a being wandering through lifetimes, but awareness itself, eternal and free. The final goal is not simply to be reborn into a better realm, but to transcend birth and death entirely. It is the freedom of nibbana, where the fire of craving is extinguished and only pure clarity remains. And perhaps this is the most profound realization of all. You were never trapped. You were never broken. You were never incomplete. The door to liberation has always been open. It waits only for your willingness to step through. Perhaps the greatest mystery of life is not death itself, but how we live knowing it will come. Death, when seen through the lens of wisdom, is not an ending. It is a mirror, showing us how deeply we have understood impermanence, compassion, and the flow of existence. When you truly see that nothing is lost, that every breath, every thought, every act of kindness continues in unseen ripples, then death no longer appears as darkness, but as transformation. The body may fade, but awareness, the quiet observer within, continues its subtle journey through the law of cause and effect. Life and death are not two separate doors. They are one continuous passage. The same energy that moves your hand, that makes your heart beat, also carries you from moment to moment. And when one form dissolves, that current simply takes a new shape. So the question is not, where does the mind go when we die? But rather, where is your mind now while you live? Because each intention, each word, each act of awareness is already guiding the next destination of your consciousness. You are shaping your afterlife right now, not through faith, but through presence. To live mindfully is to die peacefully. To act with compassion is to ensure that even your silence leaves warmth behind. To release clinging is to taste freedom before the end comes. When we understand death in this way, fear dissolves, replaced by a quiet, radiant gratitude. Every sunrise, every encounter, every breath becomes sacred. You begin to see that nothing truly belongs to you, and yet everything is connected through you. So let this not be just another video you watch. Let it be a moment of awakening. Take a deep breath. Feel your pulse. Realize you are alive now. And in this now, eternity is touching you. If these words have stirred something in you, a sense of calm, a glimpse of understanding, write in the comments one simple sentence: I choose to live with awareness. Let that be your promise to yourself and to life itself. In the next videos, we will continue this journey, exploring how to train the mind to remain clear at the moment of death, how to transform fear into peace, and how to recognize the timeless awareness that never dies. Until then, live gently, live truthfully, live awake. Because understanding death is not the end of your journey, it's the beginning of truly living.